Hey, what's up, guys? So Sarah and I are in Tennessee, walking the Gatlinburg Trail, far from our home in Austin, just getting some R&R. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of getting out of loops that we get stuck in our own head, because honestly, that's a big part of why we're out here. And we're taking a couple weeks to just unplug from everything. And this is always a really hard thing for me to do, because the business to me is like my baby. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to just not pay attention and not have my mind focused on that baby. And I'm giving myself a little bit of permission to do these videos and whatnot, just to feel like I'm still kind of doing something. But I'm really grateful for Sarah, who gets me to do these things, because it always puts me in a much more creative place. And the business always there's always a new injection of excitement and ideas for the business, yet it's always really hard to unplug and get away. And so I have to keep reminding myself the power of doing these excursions, and I want to do them more. But you know, the truth is we get into these loops in our heads on anything. I mean, if you've been stuck in any area of your life, there's a good chance you're running the same loop over and over, and you're solving it with the same answers that you've solved it with over and over that clearly didn't work, or else you wouldn't still be stuck in it. You know, and as a coach, I see that a lot. One of my favorite coaching questions is I ask people when they come to me, all right, what have you done in the past to solve this problem? What are at least 3 things that you've done? And a lot of times the answers are they're different answers, but they have a similar pattern. So for instance, I'll get people who have done a lot of different 6-week challenges, you know, including ours. And they'll have this pattern where they'll do a challenge, they'll go in really excited, and they'll lose a bunch of weight, and then they'll gain the weight back. And they just do this sort of pattern right there. And then there are other people that will join, they'll get a gym membership, and they'll go for a little bit, and then they'll fall off, and they'll just kind of go off and on and not really get any results. But something about just going from membership to membership. And honestly, usually it's more of a thing of they're trying to solve the problem the cheapest route possible. And a lot of times the cheapest route just doesn't have the answers that you need for most people. I mean, if you're a very self-driven person, sometimes you don't need much more help than that. But anyway, there's these common patterns. And so a lot of what we do as coaches is we help people recognize those patterns. And so I've had to do the same for myself. And what I've found is the best way to see these patterns in yourself and to start to root these out is to either get eyes looking in, or for you to point yourself and look out. And so what I mean by that is, like, eyes looking in, find people that you trust that can look in and that can give you advice and help you see the stories that you're telling yourself and the places, because you know you've got those friends who say there's just no good guys or no good girls out there, and yet you look at them and you go, well, I see what's going on. I mean, the life you live wouldn't attract those kinds of guys or those kinds of girls, but you can't really say that. And so we can see what other people, what's keeping them stuck. We can see the patterns that they're running so easily, but we have a hard time seeing our own. So you get eyes looking in and that you trust to tell you, here is what I'm seeing. Here are the patterns that I'm seeing you do over and over and over. And or you get away, and then that way you can look in on yourself. So that's the inside looking out, and that is to go away, get away from the problem, get away from the situation, so that you can get a bigger perspective. Book yourself some escapes, so that you're not always working in the problem, but you can actually step out. There's a phrase in business, they say, you know, working on the business as opposed to in the business. And sometimes in business, we get so caught up in working in the business that we forget to zoom out and work on the business. It's like we're so busy racing up the ladder that we forget to make sure that it's the right ladder that we want to climb. And so those are 2 methods that we've been really focusing on in our own life to improve, to kind of break out of that loop.